I've said many times over the years, there is nothing in that medical examiner's report that proves Kurt Cobain committed suicide.
Can you get me a copy of that coroner's report? Because that's the other thing that can clear this up. If they can prove scientifically that it was self-inflicted, then again,
the cause of death is easily proven through the proper police investigation combined with the autopsy and medical reports. I maintain that there is nothing in these documents that would prove Kurt Cobain's death was a suicide.
I know enough about the coroner's report and what it will say that when I do look at it, I'll be able to tell whether it's been manipulated or not, or something added or changed in it. You know, when Captain Lowe came along, that stuff really isn't as important to me as what Captain Lowe can do.
Exactly.
For this case. Yeah. A 50-year veteran at the rank of captain with an impeccable background and with impeccable credentials. You know, I mean, this guy cannot be critiqued by anybody with any intelligence and put down or made fun of or criticized or whatever. If he gets any criticism over this stuff, it's going to be from people that just aren't thinking things through and don't want to think things through.
August 25th, 2012. Dear Sir or Mrs., my name is Leland Cobain and I live at 57 Clemens Road, SP number 1, Montesano, Washington. I would like to request the coroner's report, autopsy and toxicology for my grandson Kurt Donald Cobain, who was found deceased in April 8, 1994. It has taken me 18 years to make up my mind on what happened to him, and I would like to read the report for myself. I am 88 years old and I'd like to know the results before I die. Leland Cobain. 9 months later, on Wednesday, May 29, 2013, Leland Elmer Cobain sadly passed away at the age of 89 at Grays Harbor Community Hospital in Aberdeen, Washington.
A message from Tom Grant regarding the long-awaited autopsy report and the findings he has found within them. We are so close to opening this case now.
Letter to the readers of Kurt Cobain's autopsy report. I've always said, as far back as the mid-1990s, there will be nothing. And now I can say, there is nothing in the autopsy report that could not be duplicated by a staged suicide. In fact, there is something in the report that indicates probable collusion to perpetuate a deliberate lie by the medical staff at the King County Medical Examiner's Office. Their report states, a note indicating suicidal intent was found in the residence. Anyone who has seen and read that so-called suicide note must evaluate it honestly with full knowledge of the following. This medical examiner's report has added nothing new to this investigation other than a huge added lie. See for yourself.
For decades, Tom Grant has been begging for the coroner's report, and now that he has it in his hands, it's trash. It's complete poop now. What happened? Nothing happened. Tom is just a big fat liar. He flat out said that the report brought nothing new to the case, but yet another lie by the coroner. What is the great lie, Tom? Well, the great lie is this dumbass note he has been obsessed with forever, because they mentioned it in the report and they dared to call it an unaliving note. 30 years of investigating my butt. He's been tugging at his little note for decades and has brought nothing new to the case other than letdown after letdown.
Autopsy and toxicology report findings. The cardiovascular system shows a normal heart. The heart weighs 275 grams. The chambers and valves are normal in size and structure. The coronary arteries show only minor atherosclerotic streaks. There is no significant heart disease. The major vessels are normally formed and unremarkable. Under the microscope, the heart shows no pathological abnormality. It's important to note that Cobain did not suffer cardiac arrest, as this indicates that the heart was still pumping when the fatal shotgun blast occurred. The respiratory system shows important findings. A small amount of frothy, blood-tinged fluid is present in the trachea. The lungs are described as markedly congested and deep red in color. This indicates fluid accumulation and impaired oxygen exchange. These findings are commonly seen in states of respiratory depression and hypoxia, especially in opioid overdose cases. The presence of frothy fluid in the airway indicates that this process occurred while circulation and breathing activity were still present. The liver appears normal on gross examination, with a smooth surface and normal structure. However, under microscopic examination, the liver shows necrosis, meaning tissue death. This type of liver necrosis is a classic sign of systemic oxygen deprivation. It indicates the body was in a severe hypoxic state before death. The brain, on microscopic examination, also shows hemorrhage and necrosis. Brain tissue is extremely sensitive to oxygen deprivation. Necrosis in the brain indicates a significant period of reduced oxygen delivery prior to death. Other organ systems, including the kidneys, spleen, gastrointestinal tract, endocrine organs, and reproductive organs, are described as normal. There is no evidence of natural disease that would account for death. When these findings are considered together, a clear pattern appears. The lungs show congestion and fluid consistent with respiratory depression and non-cardiogenic pulmonary edema. The liver shows necrosis consistent with systemic hypoxia. The brain shows necrosis consistent with severe oxygen deprivation. The heart is structurally normal, with no disease that would explain death. This combination of findings is consistent with a severe opioid overdose. It indicates that the body was in a state of profound oxygen deprivation before the fatal injury occurred. In forensic terms, this represents the terminal stage of overdose, where breathing is severely depressed or absent, oxygen levels are critically low, and the brain is no longer functioning normally. At this stage, a person would be unconscious or deeply incapacitated. When these internal findings are considered alongside the extensive hemorrhage associated with the gunshot injury, the evidence indicates that circulation was still present at the moment of the head trauma. However, the organ findings also show that the person was already in a severe hypoxic state, consistent with a terminal overdose phase. In such a state, the person would be incapable of alertness, coordination, or a purposeful, conscious action. Kurt Cobain's blood-free morphine concentration measured 1.52 milligrams per liter, or approximately 1,520 nanograms per milliliter. This level is extraordinarily high. In one forensic study, survivors of non-fatal intoxication had morphine levels no higher than approximately 128 nanograms per milliliter. However, by approximately 200 nanograms per milliliter, all subjects in the study were deceased. Kurt Cobain had a level over 1,500 nanograms per milliliter, far above the levels associated with death in that study. While tolerance can raise the threshold for opioid effects, heavy users with concentrations this high would not have been able to sustain survival during onset of immediate coma. Even experts who stress the importance of tolerance describe this concentration as a very large and lethal dose. Kurt Cobain had received an intravenous injection of a lethal amount of heroin. This delivered the drug directly into the bloodstream, producing rapid effects on the brain and respiratory system. The heroin caused severe respiratory depression, resulting in generalized hypoxia, a severe lack of oxygen. The lungs exhibited pulmonary edema and frothy fluid in the trachea. The liver showed necrosis, and the brain showed signs of hypoxic injury. At this stage, Cobain would have been unconscious and deeply incapacitated and would have been incapable of alertness, coordination, or purposeful, conscious action. During this terminal stage, the shotgun injury occurred. The autopsy revealed massive hemorrhagic destruction of the brain and lacerated blood vessels. Again, this indicates that active circulation was present at the time of trauma. In short, the gunshot occurred while the individual was still biologically alive. Toxicological analysis confirms the presence of heroin metabolites, specifically 6-monoacetylmorphine, or 6-MEM. This compound is uniquely specific to heroin and has a very short biological lifespan. Its detection indicates that heroin was administered shortly before death, leaving insufficient time for full metabolic conversion. In regards to the medical examiner's ruling of suicide, severe hypoxia may sometimes produce minimal involuntary or reflexive movements without conscious intent. Even though subtle movement may occur, it would have been involuntary and unintentional. This is perhaps why the medical examiner's opinion was noted as self-inflicted, indicating that some movement may have been possible. In forensic pathology, self-inflicted refers only to the physical origin of a wound, not intent. Only that the wound came from the person's own body. Misinterpretation of this term, combined with a note at the scene, can make the suicide ruling appear consistent on paper. Handwriting experts have debated over the bottom 4 lines of the note, which allegedly indicate intent. However, a note found at the scene, regardless of whether or not it provides evidence of intent, does not override the manner of death at autopsy. The physiological evidence demonstrates that only unintentional movement could have occurred and that Kurt Cobain could not have picked up a shotgun and shot himself during this terminal stage of fatal overdose. This leaves no room for debate over tolerance levels, free morphine versus total morphine levels, contents of a note found at the scene, the time between injection and incapacitation, or the theory that the body was shot post-mortem. Final summary of forensic analysis. Kurt Cobain was in the terminal stage of heroin overdose, experiencing severe hypoxia, unconsciousness at fatal morphine levels. Free morphine at 1.52 milligrams per liter would have suppressed respiration completely. The shotgun injury occurred while the individual was incapacitated, alive, but incapable of purposeful action. From a physiological, anatomical, and toxicological perspective, the findings are inconsistent with a conscious, intentional self-inflicted gunshot. Final ruling: homicide.